What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Tuffy Talk, y'all. We are rolling. We are excited here to be welcomed once again by a friend of the podcast for sure. In my opinion, one of my favorite NC State head coaches for sure, and that is non-biased to say the least. Head coach for the IcePack, Tim Healy. Nope. Coach, you could put that in your resume even. One of Tuffy Talk's favorite NC State coaches.
And that is high praise. And, it's great to be back on here. It's been a while. I feel like when I was first on here, it was almost like a puppy Tuffy Talk. Like you guys were just starting out. And it's funny, I've been traveling and went to catch up on the latest episode. And there were two things. I saw how many subscribers you had on YouTube, but I was driving, so I switched over to the podcast. And I was actually embarrassed that I wasn't actually subscribed to it on the regular podcast because I normally catch it off YouTube. But to see, the amount of subscribers you have, it's well-deserved. You guys have worked hard at it. And I'm super proud of you guys. And I'm proud to be with one of the first guests that you had on here way back when.
Yes, no, way back when, during the times where we still were recording through Zoom and, just hoping and praying that the internet on all sides was going to stay, prevy enough to let us continue to record. So, and now here we are actually having, a podcast recording software, which is really, really nice. So, we bumped it up a little bit, but we appreciate that, Coach, first and foremost. But first of all, also, too, since you said subscriber count, for all those people who are watching who are not currently subscribed, if that subscribe button is lighting up for you right now, that means you have not subscribed yet. So make sure to go ahead and click that right now. It's free to do, and then make sure that you do not miss out whenever we release any new NC State content, which between now and definitely through football time, there's going to be a ton of content that's going to be coming out. So make sure to do not miss out on that. Hit that subscribe button right now, y'all. But jumping into it, Coach. So first,
in hockey, we call that a backdoor tap in. I gave you the assist, and you just had to tap that in.
That's right.
The subscribe read.
That's right, and I appreciate that. Hey, listen, it's a team effort as always, especially in hockey. There's no more team sport, in my opinion, than hockey for sure, because it is, you have to know each other like the back of your hand for sure, and it is a team effort to get any kind of goal for sure. You can ask the Toronto Maple Leafs. Austin Matthews can't win it all by himself, right? So anyway, though, but. So Coach, is this your fourth season now that you're going to be coming into, or is this your fifth season? I know you came in 2020, so I'm trying to do the math here.
It will be my fourth season as the head coach and eighth season with the program overall. And so that makes sense. It really, I realized how long it's been when we had our alumni game this past year and just seeing how far back some of the guys go. So it's pretty exciting. And so 8 years with the program, fourth year coming up as the head coach. And it's just gotten bigger every year. And I think this might be our most exciting season coming up yet.
I'd agree with that too. Well, and especially I want to kind of break it down a little bit as honestly, I would say that probably this period that you have been the head coach has probably been the biggest shift of the IcePack program over its entire tenure, which as you can see in the back there has been around for quite some time, with your bubble hockey back there. But I mean, with obviously the transition of, I think, upgrading the uniforms for sure, upgrading of support from a fan perspective. I mean, now to a point where it's almost a given that every game is going to have a huge crowd, if not sold out. But also too, even with the outdoor IcePack game, which was huge, and now too with the new conference change as well. I mean, these last years have been crazy. So let me kind of first of all say, what would you say has been some of the biggest changes that you have seen in terms of from a recruiting / team management perspective? Have there been some changes there during your tenure so far as head coach?
I think, absolutely. And I do think, you get these positions in life and in time when it happens to match up with a skill set. And, my predecessor, Mike Gazzillo, where he put the program on such solid foundations and really enabled it to take off when he turned it over to me. So, you're only really as strong as the person before you. And again, Mike did such a great job of getting this on a strong foundation that allowed us to build. So, to your question of what have been some of the biggest and perhaps why, I think, one is there's a wave, there's two waves going on right now in Raleigh, and we've been able to ride both. One is there's a huge hockey wave, right? And if you think about our first really great year was the same year that the Canes got back to the playoffs and went to the conference finals. So you have that. And, the Canes, make no mistake who Rod Brindamore rolls with, right? Like we all know he rolls with the pack, right? So, and, I like to point out when we play at PNC Arena and the guys up the road think of that as a neutral site game. No, that is a shared house between the Canes and NC State, right? Like, let's not kid ourselves. So you have that wave. And you also have the NC State, both athletic and academic wave. So, number one, if you look at what has been really this past year athletically was a culmination of, what was to come for a few years. And it's not by chance. We probably had our best recruiting yield. We had incoming players staying at the Loft Hotel overlooking the bell tower the night they won the ACC championship. Right, that helps, right? So that goes a long way. And then, obviously we're speaking in the wake of Chancellor Woodson announcing this being his final year. If you look at the move that NC State has made academically over his tenure into being a top 25 university. So you have all those things coming together at once, right? You have Gazilla putting the foundation. You have us with a few good teams. You have the hockey wave in Raleigh, and you have what's happened at NC State. And we've been able to really latch onto that and harness that. So I would say, the biggest changes are the environment in Raleigh for NC State athletics, even though we're not part of the athletic department. Honestly, I think a lot of people think we are, which we're not. So buy tickets, buy jerseys, donate. We are fully self-supported. Less than 1% of our funding comes from the university. So we may look it, but we're not. So support us. And then, so, we're the beneficiaries of that. And then we have a great team that really worked hard to take this to the next level. My assistants have been in place the whole time. We've had some great presidents, some great captains. And then I think we've coalesced around a vision of what we can be and what we want. And we want this to be the best non-varsity college hockey team in the country. We are Raleigh's college hockey team. We're NC State's college hockey team. And I don't care if it's bocce, hockey, or men's or women's basketball. NC State deserves the best they possibly can get in that sport. And we're determined to give it to them.
I love it. Well, first and foremost, since you said, definitely get in the ways of, buying tickets and buying jerseys, I got to do my part. So first and foremost, I realize I need to do a quick change here with my attire. So I'm through the power of editing. We're going to do that right now. And there we go. That's way better.
So finally just like that. Yeah. And that is actually... and something to note about that jersey there, there isn't a central clearinghouse of places that keep track of college hockey jersey sales. But for Rebirth, the company that makes that, they have a lot of ACHA teams, probably the most. For the first year we passed, we became their biggest selling jersey on the banks of that one. And you want to talk about success, think and do, right? I think our players and our team that helped design that jersey, they got the message of that jersey and understood the assignment of that jersey than any other team that played that weekend. We wanted a long sleeve football jersey. And, we knew we nailed it that night, but the night I really knew we nailed it is when we went to the UNC-NC State game at Carter Finley this year. It was a little bit chillier night, and those jerseys were everywhere. And of course, they had a pretty similar result to it against UNC when we were on that field. So there you go. So
that's right. Yeah.
Good karma.
No, karma indeed. Well, and I want to talk a little bit about it since you do bring up, UNC. Is that I did notice first and foremost, Coach, and I don't know if you necessarily keep up with it, but UNC hockey, their Twitter page, they still have one of their wins against us still as their pinned tweet on their Twitter page. So, I mean, but we're not a rival, right, Coach? Just want to make that very clear. We're not UNC's rival, right? But yet they still have the win over us pinned to their Twitter page. So it's interesting.
Well, out of respect for their hockey team, they absolutely, there's no question on a hockey-wise where they're rival. And you know what? Look, they've won 2 regular season trophies in the last 9 years. So, that's what they need to hang on to. But it is... time to move on, boys. You don't see
That's
us
right.
having the Carolina Classic pinned up there, which, was the highest attended game last year that, we handled that one quite well. But to be honest, like, we always want to beat UNC, but we don't
Absolutely.
really measure our success against them in the way they measure their success against us. Our success is measured in ACC championships, nationals appearances, and frankly, the last couple of years we've come up short on that. But fortunately, we had a great freshman class this past year. Probably our best recruiting class coming in. We have a skate coming up tonight. The guys are out. The guys are hungry. We lost to the eventual national champion in the regional final by 1 goal and then a couple empty netters. So I think the guys see how close we are to that, and they're pretty committed to it. And in our last year of Division II, they want to bring home that national championship before we bump up a level. And there's no question we have the team to do it this year. Probably the most complete team we've ever had at state.
I mean, so you're like, this upcoming year, you feel like it's the most well-rounded team we've ever had.
Yeah, there's not a position that I don't feel like we don't have the best players in the league on it this year. Not one position. Wow.
That's a bold statement.
And the
Coach.
depth, as you mentioned, the depth that we have, we're really excited. The players that we have coming in and that we're yielding. People forget that Frozen Finley last year happened after the admissions deadline. And after even a transfer deadline. So that bump of players coming in from that's really this year. That helped us yield players that had already applied. But the Frozen Finley, that's really this year's class that's coming in.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
That's true. It's a good point. Yeah, no, and definitely, talking about last year too, I think, overall, as state fans, it's kind of funny that I feel like that with the IcePack, the few years before that, we were kind of spoiled, by the success that we had. Obviously 5 straight tournament titles, definitely can do that. And so, when you go 17 and 13, a lot of people might say, man, like, what happened? Did IcePack slip in? But honestly, looking back at last year's team, like you said, I feel like it was a very young team. It was you could see a lot of skill levels, a lot of talent that were freshmen and sophomores, like you were saying, I think you're about to say is going to be a huge building block heading into this year's team.
And I would I would say, first half was a struggle at times. We had, 12 new players. It wasn't a particularly large senior class. They were great leaders, don't get me wrong, but they weren't large. Garrett and Bresci and those guys. But it wasn't a large senior class. And so, a lot of times you only go as far as your seniors take you. We didn't have many seniors to take us, and they did everything they could, but it really was second semester when the culture got right. Those freshmen kind of grew up and grew into their roles. So I would challenge and say, hey, look at what we did second semester. We were on a roll second semester. Regionals was outstanding. Heartbreaker in the ACC tournament, 3-3 overtime, 4-4 overtime can kind of go either way. But then, we kind of avenge that loss the next week in regionals. So it's really where you leave off. And, you're looking at that record, but I would concentrate really second semester because we really return, the core of that nucleus. Yeah, I mean, tough to replace guys, like a Garrett or Rini, but I actually think we've replaced them and more with what we have coming in.
Yeah. Well, just like you said, I mean, even starting off, even before the second semester, even starting off on November 10th against Texas A&M, those last 15 games of the regular season, y'all went 11-4. So, I mean, definitely, just like you said, strong finish, rough start, strong finish for sure. So, and I'm sure you can even say, again, a lot of growth, right?
And you look at those 4 losses, right? 2 were overtime losses. Actually, 3 were overtime losses because Rowan was an overtime loss. They went on to win the ACC title. Indiana was, a loss late. They went on to win the national title, right? So we didn't lose a game in regulation other than Indiana, which was the last game of the season from, in the second semester.
Yeah, it's a good point. And one thing too, Coach, which I wanted to even kind of build off of, when we were talking about UNC previously, is that a lot of state fans might be like why does it really matter so much about UNC? But for me, honestly, UNC's growth, I feel like, is just as big of a key to our growth as just our growth in general. Like the more that we both grow as programs, the better it gets for both of us. So, looking at UNC and them, they're having talks of building their own hockey arena. And also too, now they're going to be in January doing an outdoor game in Charlotte versus Virginia Tech.
And we have kind of one, and we have an announcement coming up on that too. We're kind of waiting for the moment on that one. So it's just a little tease. And what I will say is the opponent for that one down there is going to be awesome. It's going to generate a lot of excitement. And it's, we're looking to actually get the biggest outdoor crowd at that one. But, what you're getting at with UNC, it was starting for a while to be, like the Harlem Globetrotters versus the Washington Generals, right? And that's not a great, healthy rivalry. We needed actually UNC, if you look at this move to ACHA Division I, you need travel partners, right? It would have been tough for us to make that jump if it was just one team down here. So them getting better does actually help us. And when you can have your nucleus of your conference stick together, you're in a lot better shape. You look at what's going on with the greater ACC, Clemson and FSU, two of the more marquee names, they're not sticking together. From a hockey sense, us and UNC, we are the two marquee names in the conference. And us, I get along with off the ice, once the pucks drop, they're the enemy. They're the school up the road. But Adam and I have a great working relationship that have helped us, up this, we needed them to get better. It's good for the rivalry. It's good for hockey in Raleigh. And it's made us more marketable for the teams coming in, scheduling teams together. You look at it, we have 19 home games next year. That's because teams know they can come down and actually get 2 quality games now.
Yeah. That's true. Very good points. And I do want to kind of talk too about that schedule a little bit, looking at it. And, we'll talk about the ACHA move here in part 2 here. But, a couple of the teams that we're going with, such as Bama and Louisville, are on that schedule, which I think is going to be a nice little, teaser for what it's going to look like, making that move to the next division in 2025 and 2026. But, again, Penn State's going to be a great battle here. Michigan State, UNCW, Delaware, Liberty, which is always a big matchup, Virginia Tech. What's the game probably that, Coach, that you're the most excited about on next year's schedule, besides UNC, of course?
I would say, even though it's a road game, personally, I'm really excited for Navy. I think anytime you're playing on a service academy's campus, I think that is special. So I think that one, and they're also a Division I team, and they've probably they've been a really successful Division I team in the Northeast. So I would say Navy is one. I would say UNH is another. They are a perennial. They are a perennial nationals team out of the Northeast. Also, my wife is from New Hampshire. My daughter was born in New Hampshire. My in-laws went to UNH. So there's that side, there's that side there. Aiden Brenner transferred from UNH. So there's that. I think Alabama is exciting too, because they're going to become a mainstay on the schedule. So I would say that one too is a big one. I'm trying to think. I think another special one is going to be Army at Fort Liberty or Fort Bragg, whatever it's your choice to call it. I think that's going to be a really cool one. And, we're going to be the designated home team. I'm not sure how much will feel like a home team. Michigan State we're going to be debuting a new camo jersey that night. So that'll be a fun one. So there's that one. Of course you always have the UNC games too, but those are some highlights that I really would look at and, circle to get there. And especially, as I said, teasing a little outdoor game that we'll this contract signed, but we want to make sure we roll that out effectively in terms of a marketing standpoint.
Will that be the 2025-2026 season that would happen? Whatever that is.
No, that schedules for the outdoor game is for this season that we're going to have. So
holy smokes.
Yeah, it kind of came together late. We got the date from, well, whatever. We'll put it out there. We're going to be playing down at Truist Field against South Carolina, the reigning AAU champions. Which, and to play them in Charlotte, I think, and it's going to be the night before the Army game. So it's going to be a fun weekend for us. And I think what makes that big is Charlotte, you have such huge alumni bases right there on that border. So, and, from NC State, I'm pretty sure, after listening to your podcast last week where you went on for about 20 minutes in Georgia Tech, that reminds me that game's a Thursday night. So NC State doesn't have a game that Saturday. There'll be no excuse not to get out there for it.
Interesting. Yeah, because I'm looking at it right now. So before the Army game, you said that is when it's going to happen?
Yeah, so that's the 22nd or 23rd.
So our game is actually going to happen 2 months before UNC plays their outdoor game against Virginia Tech. Yeah. That's fascinating.
And I think that's a great matchup for them. I think we're lucky that I think South Carolina being where they are gives us a bit more of a geographic draw there. So excited for it. But even moving on beyond that, I think, for us, we haven't played in Charlotte in a long time, and we know we have a lot of great fans down there. So for us to be able to go down there, play in Charlotte, play outdoors, I would say, we haven't come up, Harrison Eaton's working on what the name will be, but it'll be presented by CM Red. So, one of our great sponsors on that. So, maybe it'll be the Border Clash or the Border War presented by CM Red. So we're really excited for it.
That's so awesome. Well, I couldn't think of a better spot to cliffhang part one, coaches. We'll definitely talk about this ACHA move in part two. Talk a little bit more of IcePack hockey in part two. So first of all, y'all, if y'all haven't already, make sure to go support these guys, go support this team. They're selling season tickets right now for this awesome season coming up, which home games include South Carolina, Alabama, UNC, Louisville, Penn State, you name it. So a lot of great matchups to look forward to. So go and make sure to buy your season tickets. Make sure to go and buy some jerseys as well. Y'all got the Carter Finley black jersey. So make sure to go and buy these for sure, as they're awesome to have. And then again, y'all just make sure to go and support IcePack. Follow them on all their social media at IcePack Hockey on Twitter, you name it. And again, y'all, for us, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If it's lighting up for you right now, that means you're not subscribed. Hit that subscribe button right now. Make sure to also hit that like button if you love IcePack Hockey. If you're jazzed up as I am for this South Carolina outdoor game, which is going to be so sweet, make sure to hit that like button. And also make sure to give us a follow as well. Tuffy Talk now, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. We'll see y'all for part two, and go Pack, y'all.